Question: are you familiar with the Warrior Cats franchise? If not, why here? Read the books! So recently, I've been a little behind on both my schoolwork and some old art I've been needing to do. All because spring decided to be another jerk and absolutely destroy my sinuses. And you know how when you're stuffed up and thus can barely breathe or get any amount of sleep regardless of what side or position you lay on? So you're just stuck in this zombie-like state for a few hours? Well, I decided that if I'm gonna feel like utter shit for the next couple of days, I might as well make the most of it, and just binge played Clan Gen. And for those of you not familiar with it, Clan Gen is an 8-bit RNG Warriors Cats fan game that allows you to create and raise your own clan. It was created by Sable Steel, and it's free to download and play on the computer, whether it's Windows or Mac or whatever. You can choose who rules your clan as leader, send your cats on patrols, match them up as mates, change up their names, and basically live out clan life to your heart's content. If you're a Warriors fan who's looking for a game that takes on both growing your clan and giving your cats some personality and growth themselves, I highly recommend you check out and play it for yourself. I ended up having a lot more fun than I thought I would, and I think you'll enjoy it too. I'll link it in the description where you can download it if you want to try it for yourself. There's also a challenge where people play the game and draw the cats in their clan and update what's been going on within said clan for a year, or in this case 12 moons. And while I've been mentally dead, I've decided, you know what? I might just try that. I think it'll be fun and it'll distract me from my allergies. And then I decided I'm gonna end up jotting every little thing that I find about these cats. So today I'm going here to introduce you to the strong and resilient Sycamore Clan, named after the large trees that grant them the safe haven that its cats live under. Now before I go into the cats in this video, I will say that in this playthrough, mass extinction events are active, same-sex couples cannot have kits, mainly because I just wanted to keep it slightly realistic in terms of biology, so please don't kill me for that. Cats without mates cannot have kits. Cats with mates cannot have affairs with other cats, aka no cheating, and every cat patrols every other moon. Now first off, when you start your clan alongside the cats you choose to start your journey, you will also automatically gain a single StarClan cat that will act as your clan's first connection to StarClan, as well as take on the role of guiding your warriors to StarClan when they die. For Sycamore Clan, my StarClan guide ended up being a very, very young 8-moon-old Hawthorn Swoop. Hawthorn Swoop was a medicine cat apprentice who died very young with only 2 moons of training when they entered StarClan. When they started the game, he was referred to as Hawthorn Paw. However, he had also already been in StarClan for 178 moons, so I figured if he's been dead for that long, he might as well have his full medicine cat name, which ended up being Hawthorn Swoop. Hawthorn Swoop is pretty childish, always greeting newcomers to the stars with a warm, playful smile before escorting them to the other side. He also has valuable insight, and while he's forever young, I could imagine his time in StarClan has made him wiser. Now, when I started the game, there wasn't exactly any backstory to how the clan was formed, so I just came up with the idea that Sycamore Clan, alongside 4 other clans that I've also developed in the game, were founded by descendants of warrior clans that used to live in the territories they live in now many years ago, and those clans went by different names. Those ancient clans were Fallen Clan, Cinder Clan, Crystal Clan, Moon Clan, and Stone Clan. However, these clans were chased out of their homes when Two Legs came with their monsters and fire and tore down most of their territories and killed many cats from all clans in the process. And those that survived would only suffer more, as because of the constant deforestation, prey was very scarce, and it was a miracle to find food or water that wasn't already poisoned by chemicals and filth left behind by the Two Legs. During these times, the clans became extremely aggressive towards each other. Blood would be shed over the smallest piece of prey, or a single drop of water, as it would make a huge difference between an elder or a kit starving or living to see even another single sunrise. 2 of the clans, Cinder Clan and Crystal Clan, decided to move to the mountains in an attempt to adapt and thrive elsewhere, as they knew they would all die out if they stayed. But the 3 remaining refused to leave, and it only ended in more unfortunate events to come. Cats would either starve to death, or they would die of illnesses that their bodies would be too weak or malnourished to fight against. And eventually, Moon Clan, Fallen Clan, and Stone Clan scattered, and the clans came to an end. Some cats left the wilderness behind and became kitty pets in hopes of finding comfort and shelter for the rest of their lives. Others lived in small groups as loners, some keeping the warrior code close to their hearts in hopes of passing it down to their descendants in their groups, while others just simply abandoned it altogether, either losing their faith in StarClan or prioritizing survival over everything else. Years later, a very small group of cats that still maintained the code to a degree were led to a deep dark grotto after their leader and current healer were both visited by a StarClan cat in their dreams, and this cat was Swoop. He told them that it was time for the clans to return and begin a new era, and upon settling into the grotto where these cats would call home, he would make himself known on the High Stone and declared that while this grotto was once home of their ancestors of Fallen Clan, the reborn clan from now on would be known as SycamoreClan, and they would rebuild and thrive for many moons to come. And in front of these group of cats that became the founders of SycamoreClan, he called their leader forward and gave her all 9 lives upon the High Stone before returning to the stars and letting the clan begin its journey. Speaking of which, time to introduce the very first leader of SycamoreClan, Ebony Star. A cold, keen-eyed 65-moon-old she-cat who stated to be a good speaker and likes to make sure all is well in the clan and everything is as it should be. Everyone is fed, no one's bleeding or wounded, kids, queens, and elders are taken care of, and apprentices are being trained properly by their mentors and actually progressing well. Her warrior name before her leader ceremony was Ebony Pounce. Now, during the first moon or two since the clan started, she had been feeling unappreciated and was being a little neglectful of her clanmates. She wasn't mistreating them or anything, she was kind of just not doing anything in terms of solving their problems mentally, but at least she was protecting them from serious danger whenever actual threats came to the clan, or just nearby at the border in general. She just wasn't listening to anybody when it comes to just mental issues. There was a cat named Sageclaw, however, that ended up confronting Ebony Star on the matter and stated that she feels as though Ebony Star wasn't taking her or anyone else in the clan seriously, and had a huge argument over it. However, Ebony Star did eventually apologize to Sageclaw a moon later, and they became later friends. And since then, Ebony Star did actually start having a new change of pace when it comes to leading her clan. She's more interactive, she's less grumpy than she was in earlier moons, and she has also grown a lot more patient with certain cats. And I will say that she has definitely a lot more patience than you would think she has. One of the apprentices went up to talk to her on an idea about sharing prey with the neighboring cat groups, and no, I made that so SycamoreClan lives pretty far from the other reborn clans, so any clans that border SycamoreClan in-game, I'm referring to them as like colonies of loners that live nearby and not actual clans. So in this case, this apprentice wanted to be generous and share prey with the neighboring colonies. And while Ebony Star didn't entirely turn him down, she was kind of just rolling her eyes and politely dismissed it. At least she was somewhat nice about it. She had also been getting constant complaints from a cat named Brackenblink, who really needs to get their shit together. I don't think Ebony Star even once lashed out at these complaints, but she's definitely not a fan of being yapped at every other moon. When it comes to her clanmates, Ebony Star is close friends with a couple of them, but overall gets along with most of them, except for Brackenblink, whom I will definitely be getting into later. She does, however, have a bit of a problem with her deputy. She's always complaining that her deputy, while a good cat to have, is not helpful at all when it comes to her role, and I can assume she probably regrets picking her. And that cat is Sunfeather, an adventurous 116-moon-old she-cat that runs as fast as the wind and is an excellent hunter when on patrols. From the way she acts towards other cats, she definitely puts on that athlete-trainer kind of vibe, if you know what I mean. Like Ebony Star, she gets along with pretty much everyone except for 2 cats, one being Ebony Star herself, and the other being an apprentice that joins the clan late in the year. She doesn't dislike Ebony Star or anything, she just doesn't appreciate being talked down upon on how to do her job every other day. While she does good on patrols and is in charge of sorting them out, she doesn't really do anything else. She kind of just sits there, not doing anything. Also, she never got an apprentice, which is required in order to be qualified for the deputy position, but remember, this was during a time when Ebony Star was kind of standoffish still to everybody, and just probably looked over that whole part of the code when making Sunfeather deputy in the first place. Like I said though, she does get along well with most of the clan, especially with 2 warriors who at the time of the clan starting were apprentices. She also has a crush on Brackenblink, whom I said I will get to later, but rejects her when she confesses her feelings to her. I'm not exactly sure why Sunfeather rejected her. I guess she felt like despite both having feelings for each other, she felt like it wouldn't work. Or maybe she just wasn't ready to be in a relationship at the moment. I don't know, but damn does she try so hard to make it up to her. I'm serious. She tried talking to her, she tried giving her gifts of prey and feathers and all that, and she just tries so hard to make it up and be friends again, but she just gets snarled at every whim or just gets a cold shoulder. And adding that up with the complaints on her being deputy, that's going to weigh her down a bit, and yet she still tries to make everyone happy. She once took one of the apprentices, Beaupaw, out for a little adventure, I guess you could say, outside the camp, but it didn't really work, mainly because Beaupaw was being a gloomy cat at the time and probably wasn't the best choice in terms of taking a certain apprentice out for an adventure. And Beaupaw was already stressed out with her upcoming warrior assessment, so that didn't help much either. But since Sunfeather is one of the older cats, I'm assuming she's likely going to be stepping down soon to retire within the next year. And I do hope that when she does, things will get a little easier for her. Also note, if you pay attention to like how I've been drawing her as I speak here, I did have a little bit of trouble, especially with her legs and definitely her colors, because you'll see that I'm using the sprites from the game as references for these characters, but for one thing, her pose was not giving me much to work with, so I was trying to figure out how exactly she looked on like both sides, and the colors and the patterns were a little complicated, so I was just improvising most of the time, just letting you know on that. Next up is our medicine cat, Flamepelt, an 103 moon-owned lonesome she-cat with steady paws and a knack for lore keeping. Flamepelt is an interesting character. She kind of keeps to herself at times, mainly focusing on her work and keeping everyone healthy, and making sure none of the herbs go bad so that her stores are in full stock at all times, which is good. She takes full responsibility of her role. She hasn't had any visions or dreams from StarClan as of this first year, but she's always on the lookout for anything in case they do decide to speak of her at any time. She gets along well with an apprentice named Sunpaw, and still hangs out with her even after becoming a warrior, always checking up to see on how the medicine cat is doing. And I think that's really cute. Flamepelt admires Sunpaw's bravery and her cheery attitude, and I think that whenever Sunpaw goes to visit the medicine cat den, it's mostly just to visit Flamepelt, and that alone just makes Flamepelt's day, because the game states that she likes having her around and is always happy when she visits. Flame also wishes to have a mate and kit someday. Now, I know that in the books, medicine cats aren't supposed to have mates or kits, but I am giving them that choice to do so anyway, because I think that if there's at least one other medicine cat or more that can cover for them while they're nursing and or caring for their kits until they become apprentices, I think we should be okay. But as of now, she hasn't found anybody. But fingers crossed, she finds happiness. Nobody has really gotten sick or seriously injured this year, so she's kind of been just vibing, having a nice steady time. Now next up is Brackenblink. My god, Brackenblink. Where do I even start with this cat? So, you've ever heard of those r/nice guys or nice girls from the Reddit meme? Yeah, take that and fuse it with Karen and you got Brackenblink to a T. And she's a mediator, by the way. She's 129 moons old and was previously a warrior when she had Sunpaw as an apprentice at the start of the year, but then became a mediator after Sunpaw graduated and became a warrior. She's playful, incredibly clever, and also an absolute wreck. Remember how I said Sunfeather had a crush on Brackenblink when I went over her, but rejected her once she confessed her feelings? Well, Brackenblink did not take that well. She became so salty that she just takes any opportunity she can just to flip her off. Like I said earlier, Sunfeather tried multiple times to make it up to her in every way, shape, or form, but nope! Bracken just turns her nose up at any attempt Sunfeather makes to try to make things better. And at this point, I'm kinda glad Sunfeather rejected her because, like, I get it. You liked her and probably felt hurt when she didn't accept your confession, but like, come on, you gotta respect her boundaries, girl. Oh yeah, and she's also constantly complaining to Ebony Star on the slightest things. Every time, every single fucking moon, there's something wrong, and half of her complaints are on Sunfeather. I was honestly surprised Ebony Star didn't tell her once to shut the fuck up. Brackenblink also hates a Sarcat fog trail for some reason, but they don't know about it. They made fun of another colony at a gathering once, but other than that, Bracken just hates her guts. And I honestly don't know why she does, other than Fogtrail scolded her once and Brackenblink just bristled her fur up at her, so I think that's what started it, but who knows. Don't get me wrong, she's a good mediator. She does a good job helping out other clan members with their problems, but she's a bitch. And she just can't seem to fix her own problems, and now the clan just has a mentally unstable elderly woman as their only therapist, so we'll see how that goes later in the year. Time for a more positive figure for the clan, Leaf Falcon, who is 95 moons old. This guy is troublesome, but he's also a lore keeper and is always prepared for any situation. He tries to set a good example for the clan and helps out as much as he's able to as a warrior. He did have an apprentice named Bhopal at the start of the year, and I will say that their relationship is just adorable. He's close friends with Fogtrail, who we will be getting into later. Now, they're not mates, nor do they ever have any romantic feelings toward each other, but the two of them sort of raised Bhopal like parental figures. They didn't adopt her, but they might as well have, because they constantly looked out for this kid. Leaf Falcon was always there for his apprentice, at times even covering for her on some minor things. He's kind of like that chill uncle that the apprentices could talk to if they needed anything or just needed to let things out and share their troubles. He does gain scars on his tail after being bitten by a fox. He also tried to solo fight a badger once while he was on patrol. He didn't die luckily, nor was seriously hurt, but he still got his ass kicked and was forced to retreat. My man, if you want to set an example for the clan, this is not how you do it. Don't influence the apprentices to go fight badgers out by themselves. Anyway, next up we have Sage Claw, an 87 moon-old she-cat, and I absolutely adore this girl. She's described to be careful and have steady paws, but also shares Sunfeather's speed with being as fast as the wind. She also likes to spend a very long time grooming herself, very frequently I might add. She had an apprentice named Fidget Paw, who she got along with nicely alongside Leaf Falcon's apprentice Bhopal. Claw is kind of the person who keeps everyone together. Every moon, she's always checking up on someone or comforting them if something is bothering them. She tried to cheer up Brackenblink after Sunfire's rejection, just talking to her or trying to distract her with other things, but Brackenblink didn't really acknowledge her efforts at all or was really paying any attention to her. She's always the first to volunteer for a difficult task and helps serve the clan by going above and beyond the call of duty. She cares deeply for the cats of Sycamore Clan. They were her family, and if you remember back earlier when I was talking about Ebony Star, Sageclaw was the one who noticed her behavior the most and argued with her about the need to treat her clanmates better. And it worked. To this day, Ebony Star was a better leader, and she and Sageclaw got even more close as friends. As for the fluffy but slightly ragged tail, she got her tail mangled by a wolverine after her patrol accidentally stumbled in its den. I like to think that she's the largest cat in the clan at this time, and has a big heart but will turn into a fierce mass of orange fluff if you fuck with her. She doesn't have a mate or any kits, but she's been looking over all 3 apprentices, including her own, as if she was their mom, or at the very least, the sweet aunt that always has, only love to give, and she does the same with a kit that joins later in the year, and really helps him through his condition, but we will get to that later, trust me. And here we have Fogtrail, a competent 53-moon-old warrior and a close friend to Bowpaw and Leaf Falcon. Now, like I said when going over Leaf Falcon, Fogtrail helped raise Bowpaw alongside her mentor and helped with the young apprentice overcome her inner turmoil as the warrior assessment was coming up for her. She feels secure around Brackenblink and also kinda has a crush on her. She doesn't know that Brackenblink hates her though or anything. She kinda thinks that they're friends, and that's really sad. Fogtrail is adventurous and a brilliant den builder. There were times when she shared prey with Ebony Star and even gave her comforting words and advice when Ebony Star started questioning her own leadership after that whole debate with Sageclaw. Fogtrail also likes to check in with Flamepelt, usually asking if StarClan has sent her any signs or visions lately. She likes Sageclaw as well. They joke around every now and then. They both go out of their way to brighten up people's day. However, they once had a disagreement over kits, but neither of them had mates, so I'm not sure what that was about. Unless one of them said that they weren't interested in becoming a parent while the other was. I guess that may have been the point. But I also want to point out that at one occurrence in the game, it said that Fogtrail missed Hawthorne's swoop, but he was already dead long before she was born, so did he visit her in a dream or something? Was she a medicine cat apprentice once, then decided to become a warrior later? I'm not quite sure, or maybe she just heard him from stories when she was younger. That could be the case, but we'll see how things are going forward. Moving on is 23-moon-old Beaufoot, who I previously mentioned as Beaupaw. She was one of the 3 apprentices that were at the beginning when SycamoreClan started, with the others being Sunpaw and Fidgetpaw. Beaufoot is insecure and often thinks that everyone else in the clan is always judging her, criticizing every move she made, and she wasn't comfortable at all that she would pass her warrior's assessment and dreaded the day she had to take it. She tends to leave camp whenever she feels overwhelmed or just wants to be alone. Throughout the year, she was pretty gloomy, which annoyed Flamepelt since she wasn't a fan of Beaupaw being all negative all the time and was just getting tired of it. Sunfeather would also try to help her open up by taking her outside camp, but to no effort. Beaupaw was also easily intimidated by Ebony Star, who would just be giving out a simple order, and the young cat would just flinch away as if she yelled at her or something. But when that obviously wasn't the case at all. Luckily though, Beaupaw's mentor was Leaf Falcon, who along with Fog Trail helped her train to become the best warrior she could possibly be. She felt the most secure around these two, and usually came to them whenever something was bothering her. And when she did finally become a warrior, she was named Beaufoot in honor of her composure. She wasn't really sure if composure was the right word to describe herself, but she remained quiet and respected Ebony Star's decision. One cat that's definitely getting on her nerves though is Sunpaw, who is the complete opposite of Beaufoot. Whenever Beaufoot walked out just to isolate herself and enjoy the quiet, Sunpaw would always find her every time and interrupt her silence with her company, which does slightly annoy Beaufoot, but she kind of just puts up with it anyway and just is dragged into whatever young friendship trio Sunpaw started. Hey, since we're talking about her now, here's Sunpaw, who later becomes Sunjoy. I honestly laughed when she got her warrior name because that was probably the best name for her, because it just perfectly describes her to a T. Sunjoy is 22 moons old and was Brackenblink's apprentice before Bracken became a mediator. I felt bad at first for having to be mentored by a psychotic woman, but she actually didn't have any problems with her and the two ended up getting along pretty well. Even after she became a warrior, Sunjoy still liked hanging out with Brackenblink and they would always have a good time. They even shared prey with each other a couple instances. This little ball of sunshine is adventurous, she's cunning, she's a great speaker, she's close friends with Flamepelt when I went over to Medicine Cat earlier, and she admires Sunfeather as a deputy. She isn't entirely a fan of Ebony Star, but that's likely because Ebony Star is more stern and more serious and a bit of a buzzkill in her eyes, I guess, but she still respects her leader nevertheless. She likes hanging out with Beaufoot as well, but the thing is, she doesn't really understand personal space and just ends up unintentionally annoying Beaufoot. I swear this has happened so often, just every time, even when they were apprentices, Beaufoot would just wander out to be alone, and then Sunjoy would just pop in hey, what you doing? Can I join? She's trying so hard to make her smile. She was even cheering for her when she was made a warrior before Sunny and Fidget were named a moon later. She's so sweet. She'll beat the crap out of you, though. She fought a small dog and a kitty pail on her own once, but, just a ball of sunshine. You can't... She doesn't identify as anything else. And the third former apprentice that was present at the start of the game is Fidgetpaw, now Fidget Bounce. He's the youngest of the trio, 21 moons old, and he is childish, he's constantly climbing, and an avid play fighter. He likes both his friends, Beaufoot and Sunjoy, but he does have a little bit of a crush on Sunjoy, and you know what? I think they would make a cute couple. They both have such energetic personalities, and I love them both. Like, I swear, these three cats are like this clan's version of like the original art trio from like the actual books, Fire, Gray, and Raven. Beaufort would be most definitely this trio's Ravenpaw, Sunjoy would be Fireheart, and Fidget Bounce would be the Gray Stripe. Like, it's hilarious, but also nostalgic in a way. Fidget Bounce also respects Fogtrail and his deputy Sunfeather, and feels secure around Sageclaw, his mentor, and Ebony Star. Fidget Paw was also the apprentice that offered the whole prey sharing with the other colonies idea with Ebony Star, which was turned down. He isn't a fan of Leaf Falcon though, I'm not sure why, he's just a little iffy around him. He does have a scar on his face after he tried to save a cat from being carried inside a bag by a two-leg while on patrol. He failed to save him in time and ended up getting kicked into a tree by said two-leg, which caused him to break his jaw and gain a scar on his face from the injury. And as of recording this, I already finished the speed paints, and while going over them, I realized that I completely forgot to give Fidget Bounce his scar. So you won't see it here, but I will draw it for the next year if you guys are interested in seeing more. And last cat of the day is the 8-moon-old Rowanpaw. He was given to the clan as a kit by his mother when she tells the clan cats that she couldn't take care of him anymore, and so the clan just decided to raise him as a whole. He was born missing a leg, and that in itself made me question things about his mom. She never shows up in games, so I used a kitty pet from like a different playthrough from when I played the game first online, and her name was Cherry. But the fact that Rowanpaw was missing a leg and Cherry just gave him to the clan saying that she couldn't take care of him really made me wonder if she just left him with SycamoreClan because he was born with a deformity and just wanted to get rid of him regardless of whether or not he survived. I don't know, but I do know he's getting love in the clan. Beaufort would constantly be checking up on him until his apprenticeship, in which he is mentored by none other than Fidget Bounce. Rowanpaw admires and respects Ebony Star. He looks up to her as an idol. He doesn't really like Sunfeather too much, mainly because she keeps bossing him around, but he also agrees with Ebony Star that she is not a good deputy. Leaf Falcon finds him slightly annoying at times, which I can kind of understand from his perspective, but Sageclaw likes to be around him and lifts his spirits up whenever his capability to become a warrior due to his condition is brought up. As a kid, he was really quiet and a careful listener, but now that he's an apprentice, he's become the complete opposite of that, being described as righteous. But he does also have the tendency to be a bit reckless on patrols, leaping after prey long before he's close enough and ready, and despite missing his leg, he does have the potential to become a great warrior and has the determination to do well for his clan as well. And that was a year in SycamoreClan. Personally, I think this was a good start for the clan, and it was definitely fun watching these cats learn to work together, and so far the teamwork is there, they just need to work on it just a bit. It was also really fun drawing these cats from the sprites that they came with, and just, drawing my own interpretations of them based on what I know and what the game has given me. So that was actually pretty cool. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. If y'all like it, I might just do more and continue with a second year and so on. And yeah, see you later.